This morning, we turn the spotlight to a pressing issue affecting millions of Nigerian households: the cost of rice, a staple food for many. In response, the federal government is ramping up efforts to bring relief to the market and dining tables. At the heart of this push is a major intervention by one of Nigeria's leading conglomerates, the Boa Group, from large-scale imports to plans for local distribution. We examine how this partnership aims to crush prices and stabilize the nation's food economy. And is this the game changer Nigerians expecting, or just another temporary fix? My case is already here to take a look at all of these proposals. That is where we come out after this break. When we come back after this break, please do stay with us. Welcome back. This morning we're taking a look at efforts of the federal government to actually bring down the price of that staple food, rice. And to do justice to it, I have Mr. Adiola Imani, a financial expert. Together we'll also take a look at that. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's look at that staple food, rice. It's also common to many people. Why is it that people also fall in love with eating rice?
Yes, I think in this part of the world is because we have limited variety of food, and so we easily fall back. Even when you want to skip it a day, you have no choice but to fall back to it. It has come to stay. Before now, we only eat rice during Christmas, but I think evolving, and we are leaving some of our local foods to this appetite for something. What we had then was Uncle Ben's. I also came, that was what we have to pick before we eat. So now that it has been, we have a system that distone it, that make it easier, and we have it common in the market. I think our appetite for something outside our home brought us to where we have to see rice as
so that appetite and the rate of consumption is also is also responsible for the increase in the price of rice.
Yes, because when there's more demand for it, for a particular commodity, the price will definitely
the elementary economics of demand and supply.
Yes.
But let's look at the current price in the market. The report we're also getting, especially from Lagos and Ibadan, shows that the price of this commodity is actually coming down. What's your reaction to that?
Yes, it is coming down, but I don't want to, we're basically talking to our audience in Ondo State. When you say it's coming down, there's this reaction. In Lagos, in Oyo State, it's coming down because of the Mr. President had actually stated his own idea of an economics, his own belief in economy, that he's not going to run after every buyer or every seller to drop price, to control price, so that Nigerians, we early part of this year and even towards the end of last year, we are hungry. Prices are 2,000 naira at a time and all that. Now the challenge, and he said that he doesn't believe in price control. At the last interview he had, that he believes in the effect of demand and supply. So I think he had opened the door for more supply into the market. Whether we call it a temporary fix or a permanent fix, it has been down, and we can see that we are finding equilibrium in the naira dollar rate. So to a very large extent, those who are importing will not panic to say that maybe I bought it at this also rate. That the non-stabilization of naira to dollar, it was actually another challenge to help an average business person importing. So we found it.
Do you know there is stability in that? There's
a stability. We have been oscillating for a while between 1,500, 1,600, oscillating in terms. So it is predictable now. We can, because even if it's going beyond that bar, the federal government still sort of intervening to keep it at that level. So to a very large extent, we will not say that I bought it at this rate and I cannot go back again to buy another one because the dollar.
So invariably that will also translate to stability in prices of
commodities. Yes, it is help the importation of rice, and we see that the more importation we have, the lesser the price. But I could call it a temporary fix, because what made it temporary is not because we are not growing rice, but we shouldn't throw away our own.
Actually, I was also coming to that because of local production. We will come to that. The BOA has also gotten a waiver to import more rice, and they also said that the price of 50 kg of rice will also come to 10,000 naira availability. Do you also agree with this?
Yes, but I still see it as a temporary fix. Nigeria is a natural huge market for any country, so they can, when the world is having it in excess, so they can dump it on our desk. But we shouldn't get carried away. We should use that window to grow what we eat.
Are we growing enough?
We are not even growing at all.
I ask you that because I also know that there was a time, a policy closing border against importation of rice, which was aimed at encouraging local production. Would you say that policy?
But the problem was the fact that even the local producers at a stage held us to ransom.
How?
By selling it as exorbitant rates. Now they got loan from government through Anchor Borrowers program to have this farm, to have everything came so easy. But when the same federal government can no longer buy it from them at the cheaper rates, haven't given them the waiver and opportunity to grow this. So and it was still because the numbers of those that are growing, very few in proportion compared to those that are consuming. So we are still far from that place. So the price, because of the effect of demand and supply again, the prices, we can no longer afford even the locally produced rice. At the stage, it even became more expensive than the imported ones. And so are we going to say because of the cost of production? I don't want to believe it's because of the cost of production. It was because of the fact that we do not have more people into it. So I feel the federal government now should still go back. We shouldn't say because we are now importing rice, we have it few. If waivers will be given to also have a rice farm, or to walk through the value chain of whatever we are eating.
I think it's also part of the plan to also.
Yeah, that was that as a long-term plan.
Yes.
This could be a temporary fix to actually be able to sort out this issue, because you discover that as these prices are going down, an average Nigerian is not ready for the price to go down.
How do you mean?
Now we have seen the price of fuel moving down, however, but we have not seen the cost of transportation changing.
Okay.
In that order.
Now, the survey actually show that a bag of rice now in Lagos is around 54,000 naira. And you also see that here in Akure.
Yes, we have not seen that. It will be strange for anybody in Akure now saying it will look as if it's a tale by 2-3 bags of rice in your car. Custom officers could stop you, anybody could harass you and so it could become difficult to move it down. But I think the reason for that is because our local sellers also still find us still prey on us.
Should it also be a contraband when the federal government has actually approved the importation of this rice?
You know, with the officers on the road, you cannot even know when you are within the law or you are outside the law. So even if the federal government had opened, okay, let's bring them in, they may say your own was brought through illegal means. So you may not be able to defend that to a very large extent. You have just got into the market to buy yours. So the one brought through illegal means and through, we won't deceive ourselves. Some are still coming in through our porous borders. So you cannot, you as another innocent buyer in the market, you cannot tell which one, but they know. So the point here is the fact that I think there should be a conscious effort, a concerted effort by the state government to look at this market.
Is the price of rice not coming down here in Ondo State at all?
It is not reflecting at all. I think the last one I bought was still 98,000 naira, though a couple of weeks back now. 98,000 naira. So, and that's Nigerian rice, not even the foreign rice. So if we are saying it is coming down to 54,000 naira in Lagos, even if it's not 54 here, we should be able to see it at 65, 70. I don't think.
So if they sell for 54,000 in Lagos, so why can't they?
Generally, before now, life in Akure is more expensive than Ibadan or Lagos. And I think the government needs to look in this area. And because
And that is correct?
It is very correct. Food, I'm talking about staple foods now. They are more expensive. At the time we take cab in Akure from one place to the other at 100 naira, Ibadan you still see 20, you still see when it is not, you still see 15 naira, 20 naira at that time.
Maybe because of the population there.
Yes, Akure is not, it could be population, but that's why I'm talking about the effect of demand and supply, and also alternative to whatever is on. Lagos, we know there are Danfo buses. Then you also see BRT buses for those who can wait. So they have options. So no one can actually hold
them to ransom. So does it mean we are not also producing enough for our consumption here, let alone exports?
Of course, we are not producing. I wouldn't even say enough. We are not conscious
despite the policy of government to encourage local production.
Yes, the policy of federal government are in place for every state government to tap into. Now, individual states are tapping into this. Lagos has traveled as far as to Niger State to grow food in partnership with Niger State government. And now, individual states now need to tap into it. Now, to what extent individual states tap into it will make it better. We are not growing at the same rate as in Nigeria. We don't have the same population. We don't have the same environmental condition. So individual states should look at it, how to benefit in that window given by the federal government.
I also know that we also have rice producers here in Ondo State. We have processing companies all around. Would you say that the security challenge is also an issue? They are not growing enough?
Yes, so some farmers may have complained, or they are complaining of security challenge. But I wouldn't want to tag it as, because we have not even started. So if there are security challenges, it's in the hand of the state government and the federal government to tackle head on. But then beyond security, I feel that there is no conscious effort yet. The major industry in Ondo State, particularly in Akure, are event centers, filling stations, maybe school, hotels, and all that. Where the sector people invest in is we show a direction the government wants to go. Now, President Tinubu could call in Bua to go in this direction, Even when we had the issue with cement, the competition had to come into play. Government needs to show investors in the states the direction.
I was about to go to that because Bua also said that the price of a bag of cement will come down when about 2-3 years ago when also met with Mr. President. But it looks to me that that promise.
No, at the state there was a competition between. There's another cement company that was floated that for Kogi State also bringing in cement. The pride that was competing with Dangote cement and all that. I think to a very large extent, if we are actually moving into real economy of multiplicity of people competing favorably, and that's what Dangote is doing with the petroleum products. We will see the fact that we are actually competing. We will see nobody will be able to hold us to ransom. Whether we like it or not, every business person will be in business to make profits. But that profit could be marginalized when there is a competition. But when there is no competition, it becomes absolute.
But when it comes to cement production, no one can compete with Dangote, and that's why Bua could not do anything.
No, Bua could do it takes time. You cannot start off and compete with somebody who has the economy of scale. Now you are starting out. Dangote had actually created a value chain around his business, producing, having a plant for urea, for fertilizer and all that, having a chain to one can actually go for one. So Bua cannot come in and compete immediately. Even NNPC could not compete with Dangote at the start out of the refinery. And so that was why he could drop his price, and marketers, even those who want to import, find it difficult to measure up. But it is good for us as a people when we have this competition in place.
No, I allow this digression because of the price. Bua is also looking at the price tag for a bag of rice, 50 kg of rice. He has promised 10,000 naira.
Yes, if it is by importation, he may have actually done his cost analysis and looking at the market. But I'm saying that would be a temporary fix.
And the rice glut globally could also end at any
Well,
time.
of course, could become some will even be begging to see who will come and take this up. And even with United States of America putting up stringent measures in terms of tax on countries like China and all that, and they are looking at other markets where they can actually bring their, and so we should not also forget the fact that this could also result to dumping, where those countries will see us as a place to dump
the rice,
their products. So that's why I call it a temporary fix. It could crash it now, but we should look inward. We shouldn't get carried away. They will not continue to feed us.
And one of the reasons also adduced to this is this news that went viral, that will have a killer rice in the market. And so people started running away from buying rice.
And in Yoruba balance we say ekpe onshiyan mogun lo ma shiyan ekpe onshiyan ja. So if I have not stolen it, it was the person that stole it. I mean, I bought it from
I didn't say steal, I said poisoned.
And the story around it was the fact that they didn't even say it was poison. That somebody stole it. So the owner caused the rice. That was the story around. The owner caused the rice. So the rice was now. Whereas if it was poison as a result of processing, then that had to be investigated. But we've not be. If it was actually the true story, the deaths will have gone viral because people eat rice every day. That means those who buy it and then enter into any eatery to buy it. So I do not believe it. As it is, we still have this egg glut. Now we're having rice glut. What has been adduced for the egg glut is purchasing power. That people do not have enough money to buy eggs. That is why they have enough supply. Egg glut is in Nigeria.
Yes, exactly.
And why we don't have rice glut in Nigeria. we are only taking advantage of what happened in other parts of the world. But the egg glut is not because we have excess egg. It was because people had changed their taste over time. The egg was getting to the price that is becoming unreasonable. And why people had to look away. Why must I eat? Is it a must I take egg? Can I find a substitute? So when we have produce or goods that have close substitute or can be overlooked, it will get to that glut when the price is increasing in an astronomical way, and people can do without it. It takes something people cannot do without, that you can increase the price. Just like saying that the price of snail is going high. How many people will complain? So some people in their entire life, they may not have even tasted it.
But if the price of petrol goes up now.
Yeah, so it depends on if the goods attached to, when the pepper price is still going higher now, it's still very expensive, people will complain because it's what an average Nigerian takes. But when some people can do without eggs, some can do without. When it is a good that people can do without, if it will get to that way, it will glut because people will leave it for you, and people actually, for me for instance, now when I discovered this price was going high and high, I discovered
I have alternative.
I got 4 layers. I prefer to buy it was more economical for me to buy the feed. And they lay 4 eggs for me every day. My children can feed on this. I don't need to buy. So I grow, and now I have my own egg.
But in case of rice, that can happen.
So that is when you can. So when you have a way of fixing so people can fix it, but rice you cannot. And I think there should be a frantic effort to grow rice in this state.
So moving forward now. So what can we do to ensure that the price actually come down in real time?
What we need to do, I want to talk about Ondo State, for instance, because most states benefited through the Bank of Industry in this Bank of Borrowers program and all that. Then in the last government, now the government had to show direction to every citizen in Ondo State to grow what we eat, and showing direction to lead from the front. To actually, there's nothing taking us away from going back to our farm settlements, where the state can make it habitable for people to go to grow there, to school there, to give them electricity there. So we can have we can have consciously and in a very large commercial scale, we can be growing this. So if we are growing it, there will be more competition. We don't need to go to Kano to get tomato, to get pepper again. if we are serious about it. And so we will not have to be paying transport fare, because by the time it gets here with the transport fare, we cannot buy the same price it is being bought at Benue State. So this comparative advantage other states have over us will be taken off if we are also supplying other states.
But then, are you suggesting that government should also come into the business to just provide?
By providing, it's still coming into the business if they provide an enabling environment. That could be their own equity in it. But that will show seriousness to every investor. That no, government is a part of this. When government is not showing the lead, an average investor feels that if I put my money, if government has put his own money by providing an enabling environment, the government will secure the place. So the issue of security will be taken off. The fear of insecurity will be addressed.
And also the disposition of our young people to farming is also something to be worried about.
It will be attractive to an average young person. If I can go there, I have electricity. If I can go to my farm and spend 3-4 days and I have electricity, I have my own portion and I'm growing what I'm growing there, it becomes easier for me. And we can actually, most of the cows we have in Ondo State, they are not owned by northerners. They are owned by people in this state. So they're having a ranch or creating a system for them to have it and have a value chain around it. Friesland had a partnership with the state government years ago and still there now, getting milking. So we can have that in our place.
I asked you that of a disposition of young people